Let's jump right into it. The recent rollout of Claude routines is an absolute game changer for how we think about AI agents. In this explainer, we're going to break down how you can build a real, fully autonomous agent in under 5 minutes. And the best part? No servers, no Docker containers, and you don't even need to keep your laptop open.
So, here is our playbook for today. We'll start with the automation paradigm shift, then compare local versus remote routines, dive into remote routines with connectors, cover the critical architecture gotchas you need to watch out for, and wrap up with a practical execution plan. All right, section 1, the automation paradigm shift. You can't drag a node that thinks. Think about traditional automation tools, the ones you're probably already using. They are strictly deterministic. You drag rigid nodes, you wire them together, and the exact same input always produces the exact same output. And hey, that's fantastic for just moving data from point A to point B. But the moment a task requires actual human judgment, like, say, deciding which of 40 emails genuinely needs a contextual reply versus which ones are just newsletters, that deterministic system completely breaks down. This is where Claude routines come in with agentic automation. Instead of dragging nodes, you just write a paragraph of instructions. You describe the goal, and Claude reasons through the execution path uniquely on every single run. That brings us to a quote that perfectly captures the philosophy of this research preview. You can't drag a node that thinks. By utilizing routines, we're giving the model the autonomy to actually look at fresh data, reason about it based on your specific prompt, and take independent action, all in the background. Moving on to section 2, local versus remote routines, choosing your execution environment. When you start building, you hit a fork in the road, local or remote. The documentation draws a pretty clear line here. Local routines run entirely on your machine. They use your CPU, your RAM, and your computer absolutely must be awake. Remote routines, on the other hand, run completely offline in the background on Anthropic's cloud-hosted infrastructure. Because it's simpler, a local routine only needs 4 basic fields to get up and running. Remote routines introduce a bit more complexity, requiring a GitHub repository, environment variables, and cloud connectors. Basically, think of local for testing your logic and remote for your actual production task. So, the crucial takeaway here, always start local. It is the ultimate testing ground. You literally just need 4 things: a name, a short description, your instructions, which is just your plain English prompt, and a schedule. That's the whole shebang. Use this setup to prove that your prompting logic actually works. Have Claude parse a local text file and drop a briefing into your session log. Once that logic is bulletproof, then you graduate to remote. Okay, section 3, remote routines with connectors, orchestrating real work in the cloud. Now this is where things get really fun. Switch to remote, and Anthropic spins up a dedicated cloud environment for Claude, using a GitHub repo as its workspace scratchpad. To actually fire off these remote agents, you've got 3 triggers. First up is the schedule. And yes, it is wonderfully time zone aware, so 8 a.m. local time is actually 8 a.m. local time. No painful UTC conversion math required. Just keep in mind, schedules do have a strict 1-hour minimum interval. Your second option is the API trigger for external webhooks. And third, GitHub events, meaning your agent can wake up whenever a pull request is opened or a commit is pushed. Now listen, if you need that high-frequency execution, like firing a routine from an external tool such as Zapier, you're going to use that API trigger. And here is an amazing little insider tip buried in the beta documentation. You absolutely must use this exact beta header in your post request: Anthropic beta-experimental-cc-routine 2020-60-401. Bookmark that string right now, because it's not super obvious and you'll need it to unlock all that external flexibility. Once triggered, Claude needs to, actually interact with the world. Enter native cloud connectors. You can authorize direct access to Slack, Gmail, GitHub, Notion, Linear, and Google Drive. Imagine this. You prompt Claude to scan your unread Gmail threads every morning, cross-reference the senders against a priority text file in your GitHub repo, and automatically draft highly contextual, professional replies under 100 words. It leaves them as drafts for you to review and then pings a quick summary directly to your Slack. How cool is that? Next up, section 4, critical architecture gotchas, avoiding the major engineering traps. Operating background agents introduces completely new ways for things to break. And according to the guides, this is a massive trap to look out for. The env trap. See, when you run a local routine, Claude can easily grab API keys from your machine's hidden .env files. But remote routines, they cannot do that. If you try to push a .env file to GitHub or just expect the cloud environment to somehow know your local secrets, it will fail. You have to explicitly paste your API keys directly into the dedicated Cloud Environment Variables UI panel. Gotcha number 2 is the stateless sandbox. Listen to this carefully. Every single remote run spins up a fresh Linux container from absolute zero. And when that run finishes, it is completely torn down and destroyed. Browser cookies, gone. Local text files, gone. If your routine needs to remember anything for its next run, you can't just save it to the local disk. You have to explicitly write that state to a database via an API call or commit a file directly back to your GitHub repo. And gotcha number 3 is silent drops. If you're building a super event-heavy workflow, like an agent reviewing every single GitHub pull request update, be careful. In the current preview, there are hourly limits on GitHub events. If you exceed those system caps, the extra triggers aren't logged as neat little errors. They are just silently dropped. So always keep those limits in mind when architecting your routines.
Finally, Section 5, the execution plan, your 5-minute deployment playbook. Based on all this documentation, here is a practical playbook you can run with today. Step 1, open claude.ai/code/routines. Step 2, do not try to automate your whole company today. Just build a really simple local routine to parse some morning news. Step 3, verify that your plain English prompting actually filters out the noise. Step 4, link an empty GitHub repository and graduate that proven logic to a remote routine. And Step 5, input your secrets directly into the cloud panel, set your schedule, and literally just turn your laptop off. The underlying orchestration of your daily work is now a model reasoning decision, not some manual engineering headache. The tools are here, they're serverless, and they are ready for you. So I'll leave you with this. What manual daily task will you hand over to an autonomous agent today? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Now go build something awesome.